Welcome to A&B Horror Movies. I'm Aaron, and I'm joined today by Josh from Horribly Opinionated, and we're absolutely thrilled to talk with Nathan Baesel. Nathan, welcome.
Happy to be here. Nice to
Yes,
join you
of
guys.
course. Absolutely. I love your excitement. So we have you on today to talk about Behind the Mask, the Rise of Leslie Vernon.
The boy murdered Silas, buried his body in the field, and dragged Molly from the house, hanging her in the farm's apple orchard.
You have no idea how much cardio I have to do. It's ridiculous. There's that whole thing of making it look like you're walking, and everybody else is running the rest, so.
Everybody thinks we just wake up one morning and start obsessing about a girl and start stalking her, killing everybody that gets in the way.
That does seem to happen a lot with you guys.
That boy, he's going to be the best yet.
There are 11 exits from the first floor. Another 8 or 9 that might be manageable from the second floor. All the obvious weapons I've sabotaged.
Why are you doing this?
We're not going to have this conversation.
Why?
out
What,
in the
you
street.
get
Get in the
hurt?
van.
You have no idea who you're dealing with.
So how will this play out? How will this work?
You won't like what you see. I promise you that.
I'm so happy.
Make sure you're getting this.
Oh, stop. What they got filming those cameras, boys?
Cannot stand here and let this happen.
Don't you get it? We're in this now. We're part of his equation.
We're right where he wants us. All of us.
You have to tell me. What happens to me?
It's a smart, legendary, and man, such an awesome slasher. Congratulations on being involved with that. We can't wait to chat with you about it today. But before we get to it, I also want to mention that you were Invasion. You've been involved with some other projects, most recently, including Deadliest Catch, Storage Wars, Waco American Apocalypse, and A Radical Life. So if time allows, we'll ask you some questions about that, as well as teaching acting. So let's jump right into it. Behind the Mask, the Rise of Leslie Vernon. How did you get involved with this project? And what was it about Leslie Vernon that appealed to you?
It was an audition, and I was hungry for any kind of work I could get at the time. And it was, I hadn't done any film at that point, so I was just particularly looking to get it into film acting and any kind of gig I could get that way. And came that my agency provided the script, and I read it. And I don't always read a script and feel like, oh, I get this. But I did with that. And I got as hungry for a script as an actor could get, and wanted to jump on board. Now, I thought the chances that I'd book the thing were pretty slim. I felt like myself, I felt like I didn't look the part of what this guy should look like, and I didn't. It just seemed like something that was outside of my my typical kind of ballpark that I play in. But I felt like I got the guy and knew the guy, and with the auditions, I was given an opportunity to just kind of do my thing with it, rather than play it the way that I heard guys on the other side of the wall playing it, because the audition rooms, the walls were paper thin. You could hear all of the choices that the other actors were making. and I did not vibe at all with the choices that they were making. It felt like they were taking it in a very typical direction, and I felt like there's something incredibly untypical about this if given the opportunity to given the leash to run with it. I felt like it had a lot more interesting places to go to, and fortunately, they gave me a really really long leash.
That's amazing. And sort of your natural approach to Leslie Vernon, I think, is what's so powerful. I imagine when you could hear the other auditions that they were going sort of an over the top sort of villain, like what you would expect. And then for you to come in and change it up, I think that's probably, I don't know, I wasn't there, but that's probably what got their attention. Um,
Yeah, you had, I think, no, I remember one of the scenes for the audition was the scene by the van where Taylor and Leslie are. It's one of the only times in
yeah.
the script that you saw Leslie being menacing without the mask on.
Mhm.
And so you had, a bunch of actors making that choice of yeah, I'm evil,
Rawr. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and they just were chewing on the scenery, and I just felt like, man, that's
Mhm.
so boring. First of all, I don't buy that. I don't buy
Yeah.
when you're acting,
Mhm.
evil. I don't buy that that's evil. For me, um, the kind of evil that's always made an impression on me in acting wise has been when I there's no wall of like I'm evil, you're not. I
Yeah, yeah.
watch me be evil on you. The kind
Mhm.
of evil that's made an impression on me is when somebody does horrific stuff and yet I can almost see where they're coming from. That's the stuff that anyway
Yeah.
that's always made an impression on me is the stuff that I can identify with and
Mhm.
almost uh, I see the justification.
Mm.
That's when
Absolutely.
when it
Mhm.
starts implicating the audience is when it feels like that's scary.
Yeah, yeah, and that sort of shift is so powerful. You play it so well. It's like it really sort of makes you step back for a moment in that scene by the van that you referred to. Just very well done. I'll stop talking, Josh, and let you jump
Yeah,
in.
no, I absolutely, that's a great scene. It is to your point, a very like a
Yeah.
much more different Leslie than you're used to seeing. But just to piggyback off that initial question, what was your process like for preparing for a role like this? I know a lot of actors will be like, "Oh, I studied serial killers or I did this," but you came at it with a very, I almost want to say comical approach because there's a lot of funny scenes in this, at least to me. So I just kind of wanted to know if you brought that initially, if that was something that you kind of curated throughout the process, or kind of how that went for you.
I wanted to because I felt like because Leslie's referencing these classic slashers, I felt like I should have an education in
Mm,
this genre that he's referencing
Mhm.
because I didn't have much beyond uh, the the Nightmare on Elm Street films. Honestly, I hadn't seen Friday the 13th at that point. I hadn't seen Halloween at that point. There was a whole bunch of classics that I just hadn't seen. So I felt like I should probably if I'm evoking them, I should probably know what I'm talking about. And I didn't do much of that. I watched Friday the 13th. I got that under my belt. I still didn't get around to. I think I watched Halloween for the first time like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe.
oh wow! All right.
Um, I get. I'm a scaredy cat, so I get really super exorcised by horror films. They really push my buttons, and so I tend to not really go there.
Hmm.
And fortunately, in the script, everything that I had to say and everything that I felt about them in terms of my regard for these folks, um, it was there. It was in the script. So I didn't
Okay.
really need to do a whole bunch of research.
Mm.
I felt like my value was going to be in embodying all of it as truthfully as I could, as honestly as I could, and it was only, gosh, I think we were already 3 weeks into the production before I was shooting any of the mask on stuff.
Yep.
So I had some time to kind of get my legs under me and build a little more familiarity. And I didn't know what I was doing when I was had the mask on stuff. We shot our first stuff with Leslie as the boy with the mask was in the orchard scene, and I remember I was trying all these things and making actor choices and
Yeah.
physicalities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Scott, the director, bless him, came up to me pretty early on, after a few takes, and he was like, "You don't need to all that stuff you're doing. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You just kind of stand there, and then you walk there, and and I'll say action, and then I'll say cut, and then you can stop doing all that stuff." And I appreciate him setting me straight because um, there was something about simplicity that I didn't trust,
Mm.
and it was when I really started to trust that allowed myself to get into the mindset of what it is to have the mask on and to do those things. So much so that by the tail end of that process, I had a whole psychic shift that I adopted, um, and it really did feel like I could transcend human,
Oh,
you know,
really?
needs and interests, and I was the genius that decided to do everything without shoes on, and so, I'm padding around and rocks, and it was like freezing cold temperatures, and but I was able to get. I had honed by that point a psychology that allowed me to just block everything out except what the task at hand was, and it got pretty Terminator-esque, just kind of machine-like and unstoppable,
I think that definitely
unfazable.
comes through for sure.
And all the cardio paid off, right? Working up to it.
Yeah.
So your take on Leslie is charismatic, you're charming, your energy is infectious when you watch the film. And then there is sort of that shift at the end where you become sort of the monster. But what I'm getting at here is your chemistry with Angela, is it Goethals? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her last name correct. Goethals. Okay.
And she added on some more syllables too. She added a soda onto that. So Goethals soda. Yeah,
Goethals
she's
soda.
got hyphens and the whole deal. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's amazing. So the two of you, your chemistry is fantastic in the film. What was it like when you met in person for the first time, perhaps through auditions? And then what was it like working with her on the film? Because when you watch it, your relationship really seems it's unspoken, but then it certainly grows as the film progresses. And then, of course, we have the finale.
Well, we met at the audition, and we were paired up with different actors, and that was one of the pairings that felt like it was different. It felt like she wasn't working an idea of what it's really hard when you're working with other actors to kind of be seen and heard by the other actor. I mean, it's confounding, but that's the truth, is that so many actors that you work with, they're not there with you. They're here
in their
working an
head.
idea that they
Sort of,
have or what the
yeah.
scene
Thinking about the next
is.
line. Yep.
Yeah. So when you say a line, there's kind of hearing what you said, but more as a cue than
Right.
something that they should respond to, because they know what their response is going to be. They've already worked it out, and
Mm.
and so some of the frustration with acting is just like breaking through all of that nonsense, and it's just like, listen to me, hear
Yeah.
me, like I'm
Yes.
doing this right now. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
And she did, she heard me and she saw me. And when you have that happening, then it's just like, okay, now where do you want to go? Because it can go anywhere. Once you have
Yeah.
that happening, then a scene can just take off like a rocket ship. So where do you want to steer it? And I was grateful to have had that with her from the very beginning. And then once we got on set, it was a process of, and because so much of the movie, 2/3 of the movie is that documentary format where we're just kind of, being and chilling and goofing and
Yeah.
vibing. And there was so much opportunity for us to really play with each other. And she was game for everything. And a real affection and bond was developing over time, such that by
Yeah.
the end of the process, it was just it was a love fest.
Hmm.
And I didn't realize it at the time. I mean, we weren't working on this theme at the time, but retrospectively, I see how much of the movie plays like a not a rom-com, but it's yeah, there's a
Kind
romance
of is
to it.
though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
it does have some rom-com feel to it too, but I think that the love part of it's really snuck up on me, and fortunately was able to grow organically.
Mm.
And I feel like it is reflected in the final product. And I know
Absolutely.
people, because I get reached out to by folks who say that, my girlfriend and I, my wife and I even, we met over this movie, and we bonded over this movie. And every year on our anniversary we watch this movie, because that's how love was expressed for them in this really unique way.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. And I think too, just kind of
Yeah, me
picky.
too.
Oh, sorry, Aaron. Do you want to go?
I just had a quick question. I was wondering, so she clearly becomes enamored with Leslie, with the character. Was that in the script, or as you're describing sort of that organic growth that happened, did it just sort of start to take on a life of its own? Because it does feel very authentic when you watch the film. And
Yeah, I
sorry,
think that
Josh,
there's
I
a
just
part
wanted to get in with
in the
that. Go ahead.
script that there's a requirement in the script
Mhm.
that Taylor is supposed to be a yes. She's supposed to be a yes for the project.
Mhm.
But there's not really a whole lot of purchase that the actor's given for where to ground the yes
Mhm.
in.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but because we were able to have this kind of rapport with one another from the outset,
Mhm.
I think her yes was a little easier to justify, because we were falling in love with each other. And I mean,
Yeah.
literally, as what was happening in front of the camera and behind the camera, we were adoring each other. So I think it just makes it so it's not so much of
Mhm.
a stretch when you're doing those scenes together to have a little bit of a smile or some kind of register, a flash in
Mhm.
the eye, something like that, that indicates to an audience, ah, she
Yeah.
she
There's
really digs
something
him.
happening here.
Realism there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, she's really digging him. Not
Flawless. Yeah.
not it's not a project. It's not her, journalism assignment. It's
Becomes something more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a
yeah,
lot of it's unspoken. It just works so well.
Yeah.
a lot of it's unspoken.
Yeah, it definitely comes across very meaningful as well. And I think too, not to go back to the kind of duality of, Leslie being, this kind of maniac killer, but also he has his very light and fun moments as well. I was wondering, and I'm thinking of specifically the scene where you're sitting in the house and you're discussing kind of the kind of mythology, if you will, of your mindset, and like the closet represents, I think it's the birth canal or something like that. I just found so many like little parts of this movie to be hysterical in like the best way. I love it, love it, love it. So I was wondering if there was just like, were there a lot of outtakes? Were you guys just having a lot of fun the entire time, while going through this, or was it more
It
just
was nonstop goofing. I mean, we wasted so much. Fortunately, 2/3 of it was documentary, so we were recording digital, and we weren't blowing film.
right?
We would have been accountable to somebody, I'm sure. But yeah, we had a good time, and that was really a testament to Scott and the director, who was just a cheerleader for the whole thing from beginning to end, and you couldn't not have a good time on his
Mm.
set. So that was the tone that was set for us right off the bat, and we responded in kind. It was so, so much fun that on the rare days that I wasn't shooting, I, I was hanging out with the folks that were free, or I was on set just because I enjoyed being there. I mean, I don't know how many
Right.
projects you actually want to spend time with people like that,
Right.
but that's what it was. Yeah, I enjoyed being around them, wanted to be around them. When we would wrap shooting, we would hit the hot tub at the hotel
Nice.
afterward, and we'd spend
Oh,
a
I
few
love
more
that.
hours with each other, soaking it up. At the
There you
end of the
go.
long
Oh,
run,
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's great.
everybody's totally brain fried, but we're still enjoying the company.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah, indeed. That's so damn cool. And in addition, there are some horror legends that are in the film as well. Robert Englund, Scott Wilson, Zelda Rubinstein. What was it like working with all of them? The intimidation
Oh,
factor, I would imagine, was perhaps a little high.
well, hugely high, because I had never done a film before, and this was
No
my first
pressure.
film, and
Yeah.
yeah, none at all. And these were, legends, not just in horror, but in
In film. Yeah.
the industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Robert Englund shows up on set, and he's just sitting around watching you do a scene, because probably he wants to see what he
My
got himself
gosh.
into, and
Yeah.
whether or
Yeah.
not he made a mistake,
Yeah.
whether or
Don't
not he
mind
needs to
me.
call his
Don't mind
agent right
me.
after this and go like,
Yeah.
"Get me out of here."
What have we done?
What have I
Right.
done?
Right. Yeah, it was. I was aware that he was there, but the first day that we were shooting, fortunately, he popped over, or the first day that he was there that we were shooting, he came over to the set, and we were shooting the scene by the van, and
Oh.
it was one of the scenes that we had done from way back at the audition. So we had a good feel for this thing, and we had a good feel for each other by now. And he was sitting there as a audience member, off camera, watching us do the thing. And yeah, it could have been a crash or burn, but he pulled me aside after we were working it. We'd done some takes. Maybe we'd already wrapped that scene. I don't know. But he pulled me aside, and he was complimentary, and he even said, "You remind me of a young Anthony Perkins." And
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you like
So-
melt right there?
I felt like, okay, I just got the seal
Yeah.
of approval from
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger, and yeah, we can proceed with confidence that this thing that we all feel like It's got the potential of a thing. We just got an exclamation point from Freddy Krueger, so we're on the right track. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a
And
compliment.
Scott,
Yeah, wow.
I mean, come on. And then Scott Wilson was just, he plays a mentor in the film, but that's who he is anyway. And so he really took me under his wing, and I didn't appreciate it as much as I could have and should have. I was still young and had my oats, and I wanted to sow them all. But I, I I would if I could go back and just drink up more of Scott Wilson, because he offered himself so freely and generously, and um, who he was on camera is exactly who he was off camera. For those scenes, he was just a kind, warm, generous soul, and that's Scott.
Yeah.
I was able to have a relationship with him after we wrapped, and I'm
that's
sure he
fantastic.
had so many relationships with so many people, because he must have just drawn people to him like like moths to flame. But yeah, I turned to him when things were going good. I turned to him when things weren't going good, and he was there for me both ways.
Yeah, it's got to be nice to have,
Wow.
especially for a newcomer.
I was thinking that I was just gonna, blaze my own trail. I wish that I could tap his insight now, because not only did he blaze his own trail, but he helped others blaze theirs, and I just would value that insight so much now, as opposed to where I was at then. I wasn't really looking for a whole lot of insight or instruction, but yeah, he offered it.
That's great. Yeah. Traditionally, I am not the biggest slasher fan. Like, I love horror, but like if I had to rank it, slashers are kind of near the bottom. This is, and it's not just because you're here. This film is arguably my favorite slasher film of all time. So, hats off to you. But I know you said earlier you hadn't spent a lot of time watching Freddy Krueger and any other slashers or much horror in that vein.
I had done Freddy. I had spent time with Freddy. I'd seen the first and second films when I was relatively young-ish, and I'd seen some of the others later on. But the others not so much. Slasher wasn't my genre. This film actually, like you were saying, this film I think helped me get the genre in a way that I didn't appreciate it before.
Right. Well, I think that.
Sorry, go on.
I think there's the like you understand. I mean, whether you understand the mentality of kind of these types of characters. But I was just going to ask, like, after playing this role, did horror become much more something you were interested in, or did you kind of shy away from it? Was it a big turning point for you, and as far as what you're interested in film, or was it just a role and then you moved on to other things?
Yeah, I certainly developed an appreciation for it, and I started years after, when attending conventions started to be a thing for me. I felt like, holy crap, I'm an ambassador for this genre.
Yeah.
I should, I should probably take that a little more seriously. So I did bone up, and I've studied, I guess you could say, the genre. Certainly a lot more studious than I was then. But the conventions of the genre that we play within the film helped me get a kind of backdoor in, because I do have a pushing my buttons, and I'm not that great with surrender.
Okay.
And horror is a genre that it's going to force your surrender. Whether you like it or not, you will surrender, and it's going to push your buttons. That's what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
Which is a reason why I have avoided it in large part. Well, compared to a lot of horror fans. But but slasher particularly is something that I have come to appreciate I because of the film have an academic appreciation for conventions and why people do what they do, and why certain tropes are represented from franchise to franchise. You can track similarities, especially in the ones from the late 70s, early 80s that we were emulating. There's real trackable tropes, and I appreciated that the film allowed for me, and I think for a lot of horror fans too, or a lot of people who want to appreciate horror but are have a difficulty surrendering, with a way to have a kind of psychological distance, or emotional distance from the what's playing out on screen, kind of a psychological kind of
Okay.
appreciation of something that feels a little too scary to let in a sensory way, a visceral way.
That's interesting. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's like appreciate the artistry of it and not necessarily what you are visually consuming, right? It's like watching a slasher versus a true crime show. True crime I find more disturbing because it's real. A slasher you have, like with Behind the Mask, it's a very intelligent script. It has a lot of nods to the slasher films that we love, and it just works so well. Which brings me to my next question, and that is, did you ever imagine that your film would have such longevity, that there would be so many fans Behind the Mask? And what has it been like meeting fans at the conventions that you've been to?
I'll be honest. Yes, I
Yes.
thought
Okay.
that
I
this
love
thing
that
was going to
answer.
take off. I thought this thing was going to be a rocket ship to the moon, look, I didn't know it, but I felt like all of the ingredients were there. It was such a solid script, and as an actor, as an auditioning actor, you just read so many scripts, and so many bad scripts, and so many scripts. But this script was so clean. It was math, and it was precise, and it was gears and levers that they all worked together. They all everything flowed. There was no fat to cut. It was all purposeful, and all references paid off, and it felt like, if we're not a bunch of knuckleheads, if we do our job right, this script will take care of everything else. And so we all worked so hard to make sure that we were pulling our weight, so that we could just take this project with a foundation of a script that was so clean and tight, and just keep elevating it. And the way that the character was presented as this kid who's about to unleash his legend on the world, I got a little ego trip from that too, because I felt like I was positioning myself as an actor in the exact same way, and I felt like this is, if I play my cards right, this will be my springboard. And now it didn't go that way. And I've had an appreciation over the years, and I think what a lot of the fans that I've talked to, there's an emergency happening, sorry, that have really held this film close to them as a really precious and beloved thing. I think a part of what they have responded to is the fact that it didn't blow up and become the next thing, and become ubiquitous, and become the thing that everybody talks about and references and blah, 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 blah. It became the thing that I can see how legit a horror fan you are if you know this film. And if you haven't seen this film, boy, am I going to just make your day right now with this recommendation. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
got a real currency because it didn't blow up like Leslie was expecting it to, you know, because it was a a thing that didn't meet the expectations that were set for it from the film itself.
Mm.
It's become even more precious, I think.
And I think it's still gaining audience. You know, it's still getting an audience. It's still
Yeah, the
growing.
ball keeps
This fan,
rolling, and
the Scream Factory edition is fantastic.
yeah,
I recommend it every
and-
chance I get.
Absolutely, me
I do.
too. Especially for those who haven't, you know, if they're just getting into horror, they're like, "Well, give me some recommendations." This is absolutely one to
Oh.
recommend because I don't
Absolutely.
know a single horror fan who doesn't like this film. It deserves more attention, and maybe this, even our video here, will get some more folks to check it out. I have to ask, and I know you get this all the time, but with the explosion of horror that we're experiencing right now, so many sequels, so many new films coming out, can you say if we'll ever get a sequel? Any new developments? Breaking news? Joking, kind of, but I'm hoping the answer is yes, but I'll stop talking.
well, I will say
Yes.
that I just read last night the sequel script,
Oh,
and
wow.
it kicks fucking ass.
Amazing.
That's great.
Oh, I
So-
hope it happens. Yeah.
Right. So there's, as anybody can imagine, there's so many steps that happen between, you know, a script dropping and a production actually hitting the shelves and streaming.
Yeah.
There's so many steps. There's so many moving parts. And fortunately, that's above my pay grade. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Basically, all I have to do is show up and say words. But it all
You do it.
starts
You
with
do it so well, though. That's an
You do.
amazing
Aw.
job to have. Yes.
Yeah, it all starts with the script. The script is the foundation, and what I loved about David Stevie's writings is he's so mathematically precise without feeling laboriously attentive to the structure of the thing.
Yep.
It comes off feeling easy when it's anything but. And that was the experience that I had when I read the script for Behind the Mask. Was just like page turning, page turning, page turning. You finish the thing and you go, it's perfect. Don't change a thing. Just shoot this,
Oh my gosh.
and you're there.
Yeah.
And that was the exact same experience that I had reading the script last night.
That's awesome. Well, God willing,
Yeah.
that happens.
I hope it happens too. I hope it happens too. Well, congratulations one last time on Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. I hope we get a sequel. I hope you get to come to some horror conventions in the Northeast. It'd be awesome to meet in person. Let's see. I do want to ask quickly about Invasion because I know you're in that series. Another series that deserved some sequels, some follow-ups, a season 2, but we never got it. But I guess just quickly, what was it like working on that sci-fi series that I absolutely loved back in the day when it aired?
Yeah, I loved it too. My bank account really loved that show. It was the first time that I'd had
Yeah.
a recurring role on
Yeah.
on TV. You know, all the other gigs I'd had up to that point had been guest stars, and you know, that's good for experience, and it's certainly a good paycheck. But having time with not just a you know character, but with a cast, having time with a production, having time to build relationships, having time to character build, was my first experience of that, and I was so hungry for a community. Acting tends to be pretty isolating, you know. you audition and prep for auditions in isolation. You do your gig and you are done. Generally, it's a one-off. So it's you're on set, you do your thing, and then you leave. And this was an opportunity to do some family building with a great group of people, and I was really grateful to have that experience. And I was joking about the cash part of it, but you know, the the financial aspects of being a professional actor are just, it's stupid. Nobody should do it. It doesn't make any sense to do, because you're the time in between gigs, where you're just kind of waiting, or maybe you're doing stuff to keep yourself busy, but you're all of the time you're just watching your finances dwindling down and just crossing your fingers, hoping that you could get something to replenish it, get you back up and breathe a little bit more. And this was the first time that I got up above a certain, I don't know, financial. I didn't even realize that I had a financial point that once I got above that, then just life looks different. When I'm not having to wonder, am I going to pay rent and bills and all this and that?
Stress of it.
The stress of it. I didn't realize how much it ground on me until I was relieved of it for a while anyway. And part of me realized from that experience too, I'm just not cut out for the financial grind of being a professional actor, because I am so attentive to my financial situation, and this is a career that just does not aid one in feeling any kind of consistent sense of relief, security, safety. So Invasion was such a beautiful experience for me in so many ways, but that was a huge one for me, just being relieved of stress for really the first time in my adult life. Complete relief of stress.
A steady,
and it was because I got to work on this really, really cool show with great.
That's even better.
Sean Cassidy, it's like
great
I
cast.
grew up watching Hardy Boys,
Oh man. And it was so good. I remember when it came on, it was before you could, binge watch. I remember waiting every week for the next episode to come out. Let's see, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I did mention some of congratulations on Invasion. I'm a fan. I wish we'd gotten more seasons, but sadly it never happened. Let's see, you also worked on Deadliest Catch, Storage Wars, Waco, American Apocalypse, and A Radical Life. Do you want to just say quickly what your role was on those projects?
I've been, for the last over 10 years now, I've been working with a production company, Original Productions, and we do a whole bunch of reality TV stuff. It's very different kind of medium than my earlier part of my career. It's unscripted and documentary format for a lot of it, but it's been a mainstay of entertainment for most Americans for
for a long time.
Since Survivor kind of changed the game plan for a lot of what people consume, and they come to reality, and they have stayed where they have stopped watching a bunch of scripted entertainment, and scripted entertainment has gotten more, I think, interesting because of all of the obstacles that they encounter now, just trying to grab eyeballs and hold on to them. But unscripted is a genre that's really only ballooned and blossomed, and I've been able to, fortunately, have some financial security that way.
With
On
those,
the
yes.
with
Yeah.
this other kind of genre than
Right.
I was doing the other way.
Not scary, but entertaining, right? So there you have it. And let's see. I also want to ask about Bloody Summer Camp 2, a new film that you're in coming out. Felissa Rose, Dave Sheridan, Diana Prince, Joe Bob Briggs. Can you say a little bit about that if you can? I don't want to get you in trouble. I know it's not out yet.
It was the first project acting wise that I had done in quite a while. You could say in a way that it kind of brought me out of retirement, and
I love
it
that.
was really
Yes.
cool. Well, I whether or not it's something that should happen, me being out of retirement, I was really impressed especially with Felissa. I mean, she is omnipresent. I mean, she's everywhere. She's constantly working. She's constantly appearing. She's constant, and I always had the feeling that I had to earn my place, and I hadn't earned my place. And she really encouraged me to think of myself in more generous terms. I think she knows that there are people that just esteem her so much, and she, being at appearances, performing in projects, she's kind of giving a gift of herself to people. And I'd never really thought of myself in that way. Oh, elote. The elote man's here. Anybody want to? No?
Yeah.
Okay. She really helped me see that I could be a lot more loving, I think, to myself, and I could be more productive in putting myself out there more. And so I watched her and learned from that, and I've been, I think, a little fairer and a little kinder, a little more loving to myself, and a little more willing to get out there, where I might otherwise just kind of, oh, I'm fine right here. Just gonna hang out and watch the world go by a little bit. I think I'm a little more willing to get out there and I don't know, be a part of the world a bit more.
That's incredible.
You should.
Yeah. Agreed. And I hope you get back into horror. I would love to see you as Leslie Vernon again, maybe in the future, but we shall see. Let's see. So before we started recording, I did mention that we're going to do a this or that segment. Basically, we ask you two things, one or the other. It's usually kind of fun, and in most cases, there's no right or wrong answer. So I will jump into the first question, and that is Freddy or Jason?
Freddy.
Tough one. Freddy, of course.
I agree there. We got two remakes. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Friday the 13th.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna alienate a lot of people right now. I've never seen any of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films.
Oh, so Friday the 13th it is.
Friday the 13th, then. Yes. Oh, you have to watch them all. They're so good. Yeah. Disturbing.
I know. It's just,
good.
but that's the reason that adjective that you just used, disturbing, is exactly. I just did that. It's why I avoided it, because I'm really because I know that it's based on Ed Gein and just fucked up stuff, and I know that people can do really screwed up things, and the truthfulness of it is, I think, what has me go like, oh, I don't know about that, but I'm going to. I will watch it.
Excellent. Well, what's really interesting about the first one, it is loosely based on Ed Gein, but it's one horror film where people finish it and think they watched the goriest movie they've ever seen, and there's actually no gore or blood in it at all. It's all in your head. So think about that when you watch it. I don't know if that's motivating or more.
No, because that's the problem. I think is that can really,
it'll get in your head.
It's pretty dark up there already.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Universal monsters or 80s slashers?
Oh my God, the Universal monsters by far.
Mm.
My horror education really came with Svengoolie and my introducing my boys to horror through Svengoolie, and so those Universal pictures that we were able to watch together, the
Cool.
classics, were not just an education for me, but a bonding experience with my kids, and really
Cool.
meaningful.
Yeah, that's nice. Monsters,
Agreed.
Bonding unit.
Yes, monsters. Poop.
Yeah,
bonding. Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Excellent.
We'll lighten it up a little bit. Snickers. We have Kit Kats or Snickers.
Kit Kat. Okay, so here's the problem. Snickers is a very hearty snack, and I appreciate it for that. Snickers really satisfies.
It does.
Yes.
However, I enjoy eating Kit Kat more because there's a process. I'm very process oriented. So
breaking off.
Say more. Yeah. What is your process? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Do you really have time to get into this?
Yeah.
You don't want to hear me talk about peanut M&Ms or Kit Kats because I have a problem.
It's another podcast.
Yeah, you break off the end of the chocolate on both ends, and then you break off the chocolate on the sides, and then you break off the chocolate on the top, and then you break off the chocolate on the bottom, and then you eat the wafers.
Never in my life have I seen somebody
do it
Kat
once, and you will never eat a Kit Kat differently again.
Do you eat the chocolate after the wafers? It does seem. Yeah.
No. I don't like set it aside and say that I'm enjoying the chocolate but it's
as you're eating
end,
it. Okay.
The end, and then the side. You're working it like a harmonica, and then the other side. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, there's no wrong way, I guess.
No, I love that. I was recently talking with someone.
There is a wrong way to eat
yes.
My way is the right way to eat a Kit Kat. In the right way.
I talked to someone recently, and they freeze Kit Kats and they eat them frozen. Have you ever done that?
So the reason why that would be really awesome is because otherwise you're getting melty fingers. Now that you can add that as part of the enjoyment process, like the afterwards, the licking of the fingers. But I think I would enjoy having clean fingers after eating a Kit Kat, because otherwise you just got to work it fast together before the whole thing's a melty mess.
I'm going to go get some Kit Kats.
Test this out.
Okay, let's see. Moving on. Would you want to spend a weekend at Camp Crystal Lake or Camp Blackfoot in the Burning? If you've seen
Crystal Lake, I haven't seen the Burning, but I'm going to say Crystal Lake just because before Jason shows up, I would appreciate. It's pretty. It's pretty, and I'm sure they get some nice sunsets. The water reflecting off the lake. Dappling effects and stuff, and that would be really pretty. And then the sun sets, and then you hightail it out of there.
Get the hell out of there. Yeah. Don't go out on the lake. Don't have sex. If your friend goes missing, don't go looking for them alone, and don't just go to bed. There you go. Leave before sunset. We would all survive.
Run like a motherfucker and
summer camp slasher.
Yep, as Scott Wilson said.
Yes. Okay,
there we go.
Over to you.
Yeah, we're gonna. This is fairly simple. Vinyl or Spotify?
I do not have a Spotify account, so I get the ads, and I just can't. I cannot.
Mm-hmm.
Vinyl. Though. Not all things are good with vinyl. Like some stuff, the stuff that's mixed, more recently. That sounds it pops with streaming and digital. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I prefer it for a lot of stuff. But if I'm listening to 50s or 60s jazz, I'm probably going to want to hear it on vinyl.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it depends. Yeah.
It depends totally on what it is I'm listening to. If it's Willie Nelson, I want to listen to it on vinyl.
Fair.
Makes sense. Let's see. A couple movies here. Hopefully you've seen them. If not, you can just pick one or the other. My Bloody Valentine from 1981 or Slumber Party Massacre from 1982.
I haven't seen either of them, so I'm going to go with Valentine because, love.
Yeah, love. There you go.
Good enough. Yeah, that works. Two more recent horror films. We have X or Pearl, both from Ty West.
I haven't seen either of them because they look really freaky. And yeah, so yeah, I'm going to go with Pearl. I've seen, pictures and
Yeah, Pearl's good.
stuff from posting and whatnot, and
Yeah.
it looks like pretty. It looks like a pretty film
It is. And
when it's not.
X is more like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Pearl is more like a character study of a
and she
troubled
looks like
individual.
Yeah. She does a really gritty job, which is cool.
Yeah, Mia Goth is good.
Agreed. Okay. I don't think we have any other specific films, so here we go. Ghostface or Candyman?
Candyman. I did see that in the movie theaters.
Oh, cool.
So
Tony Todd. Yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
classic slasher.
Great.
Of course.
Next, we have Chucky or Billy the Puppet from Saw.
Chucky. I did see the Child's Play movies, the first two anyway, in the movie theater. That's some of the few horror that I would avail myself of. That and the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. The Chucky films after that take an interesting turn.
Yeah. So don't they all?
Yeah, of course. Let's see. Would you root for the villain or the final girl?
It depends. If I'm like the Halloween movies, I'm
yeah, sure,
rooting for
just
Laurie,
in general,
right?
Of course.
But
yeah,
but I have to appreciate a slasher that's just an unstoppable force. It's kind of a dude after my own heart.
Yes,
I get that.
I love that.
You can't help but root for some people.
Absolutely. Yes. Last one. Over to you, Josh.
Yes, and it's funny you bring up Halloween, but two franchises, Halloween or Friday the 13th?
Halloween. Come on.
Yeah,
I think it's a no-brainer. Although I do appreciate when the Friday the 13th movies just started getting bonkers. I really enjoy those movies.
Jason in space, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're on the same wavelength.
I love.
Maybe we could do Leslie Vernon in space.
Can you imagine?
That would just be like an astronaut movie. I mean, I guess he could give us some folks, but he would.
Yeah.
Never say never.
Yes. Well, Nathan, this has been fantastic. Congratulations once again on Behind the Mask, a legendary horror film, iconic film. I hope we get more. This has been awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with us. Let's see if you are watching, like and subscribe because it helps our channel. Josh from Horribly Opinionated, make sure to check out his YouTube channel and check him out on Instagram. And Nathan, one last time, thank you so much. This has been fantastic.
Yeah.
I appreciate your interest, guys, and thanks for the nice conversation. It's fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Loved it.
Bye, everyone.